Tag Team Champions walk out of Raw, plus a colossal cage match to kick off the show. This is the Raw Recap. Yo, what's up guys, it's NLW here, back again with another video. Today, the start of a brand new series, it's the Raw Recap. Today, we're going to go through each segment on Raw, kind of rate it, talk about it, and discuss what could be happening in the future, and it will be highlights in the form of figure photos. So I hope you enjoy this series, and we'll start off with what started off Raw, and it was MVP coming out with Omos. He cut a promo in the ring saying that Omos was going to destroy Bobby Lashley, and that led to a steel cage match. And this matchup was pretty decent, a lot better than their one that they had at Backlash. It involved MVP trying to sneak in any way he could, especially at one point hitting Bobby Lashley with a cane through the cage. There were some points in this match though that I felt that they could have used the cage stipulation more. Maybe a couple more power moves from Omos might have been a little bit more interesting. Cedric Alexander actually tried to get involved at one point, however Bobby Lashley easily disposed of him, throwing him off the top of the cage. That was definitely the highlight of the match, and the match ended when Bobby Lashley was sent through the cage by Omos. It broke a panel, and obviously first man to hit the floor wins, so he hit the floor and he won the cage match via sneaky means. And this was a decent opener. I thought that both men worked well. It was a lot better than their Backlash match. It was a little bit limited with what they could do in there, however I thought it was still fun to watch, and that's all I'm looking for in my wrestling, so thumbs up for this segment. And next up, we had a segment where Ali was supposed to go one-on-one with Austin Theory. However, The Miz is now the special guest referee for this matchup, and it's not a match against Theory, it's a match against Veer Mahaan. And I'll tell you what, I've got a soft spot for Veer. I do like the guy, even though he is a generic big man, I have a little bit of a soft spot for him. But The Miz, obviously, as the referee, once again, trying to screw Ali over. Ali was given the fight to Veer Mahaan, a much better fight than we've seen from the jobbers over the past couple of weeks. However, Ali suffered, had to tap out to Veer, and then to add insult to injury, Theory, the United States champion, with a selfie as Ali was being crushed by Veer. And, a short match. I wish that Ali would get a little bit more fight in him, because it does feel like he's being buried, maybe, I don't know, probably because he's been, away for such a long time. However, sour mood wasn't to last, because after the match, Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio made their return to attack Veer Mahaan, so it's good to see the Mysterios back, and I'm interested to see how this rivalry goes forward, whether Rey Mysterio will be the one to defeat Veer. We'll have to wait and see. But next up, we heard some interesting news. Becky was moaning backstage, and apparently there was supposed to be a six-pack challenge to kick off, or at least main event Raw, but Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out of Raw. I'm not going to speculate as to why, because it does seem a little bit up in the air as to what the specific reasons, I should say, were for their walking out. But again, I just hope that it can all be resolved, and I'm hoping for more information over the coming weeks. And so a very interesting story developing there, but an interesting story between the Usos and RK Bro, who will be having a unification match on SmackDown. However, here tonight on Raw, we had Riddle going one-on-one with Jimmy Uso, a match we've seen before. I'm not too massive of a fan of the constant rematches, but this was still a fun match. Both men really brought it here. It ended when it looked like Jey Uso was going to help Jimmy Uso to victory. However, the referee saw it. Riddle reversed it into a cradle and won the matchup. So yeah, a solid matchup, even though we've seen it before. And my question now is really, what's the result going to be on Friday Night SmackDown? It's a match I'm really looking forward to. Hopefully it's not a DQ finish, although that's what I'm predicting is going to happen. It's going to be some sort of DQ finish where we don't get a winner. But again, I'm going to have to wait and see on that one. It would be a shame for it to end under those circumstances, because I really do like RK Bro and the Usos, and honestly, if you had RK Bro win the unification match, I think it would be fantastic for them as a team. You could always have the Usos win them back at Hell in a Cell or something, but for now, I would really love to see RK Bro win the unification match. It's just unfortunate that I don't see it happening, but we'll see. Next up, we had Liv Morgan in the back speaking to the Bullet Club. That's AJ Styles and Finn Balor, and basically wanted them to her to accompany them to ringside for this matchup, and she did. We also heard Judgment Day, the faction of Edge, Rhea Ripley, and Damian Priest talk. However, they weren't interfering in this one. It was a clean matchup versus Los Lotharios. It was a coup de grace, a phenomenal forearm at the same time for BC, or the club, whatever you want to call them now, Finn Balor and AJ Styles, this dream team, teaming up and vanquishing Los Lotharios. And at the end of the night, you saw AJ and Finn Balor give the too sweet to Liv Morgan, and I'm really digging the kind of intergender stuff that they've got going on. Interlocking the men's and women's storylines is something that I wish they would do more of in the WWE, so I'm glad to see that Liv Morgan is going to get some sort of a push being associated with AJ and Finn Balor. Next up, we had Kevin Owens and Chad Gable in the back kind of discussing the whole Ezekiel situation. Gable's going to face Ezekiel later on in the night. Next, we also had Alexa Bliss, who has recently returned, taking on Sonya Deville. Deville obviously no longer in power, and this matchup, not really a lot to say about it. Last week it was a squash. This week, a little bit more competitive. Deville did try and cheat by pulling off the top turnbuckle, but it wasn't to be because Alexa Bliss just hit the DDT. I am glad to see Alexa Bliss is back. I am interested to see where this Sonya Deville thing goes. However, this match didn't really do it for me, so completely skippable stuff here. Again, like another rematch that we didn't really need to see, and I don't know why Alexa Bliss is still carrying around that Lily doll. It just doesn't really fit her character at the moment, but again, we'll have to see what happens. And yeah, next up we had a countdown to Cody. So this was a weird thing that they were doing to try and get viewers to keep watching Raw. It was a countdown to Cody throughout the night, and finally it ended. Cody came out, cut a really good promo as he always does, and challenged Seth Rollins to a Hell in a Cell match. I cannot wait for that. Seth Rollins came on the big screen as well and accepted. So my real question now is, do they have Cody Rhodes just win again and beat Seth Rollins, or do they have Seth Rollins get one win back? I personally think that Seth Rollins wouldn't be hurt by a loss here. I think that Cody needs a clean win after the one at Backlash was a little bit screwy, but again, cannot wait for that match. Probably going to main event Hell in a Cell if Roman doesn't have a match, so good stuff there. Next up, we had Asuka in the back saying no one was ready for her and she'd beat Becky Lynch tonight. We also had Chad Gable go one-on-one with Ezekiel, not Elias, and Kevin Owens was quite entertaining on commentary. And, I really like this repackaging for Elias, or Ezekiel. Sorry, I get them confused because, they look so much alike. But Kevin Owens not having any of it. It was a decent match, but nothing really to write home about. Kevin Owens still angry that he can't prove that Ezekiel is Elias and vice versa. So we'll have to see how long they can stretch this storyline out for, because it's going on for quite a while. We also had a fun little sketch between R-Truth and Carmella in the back, and Lacey Evans made her return to Monday Night Raw, coming out and basically talking about the Marines and stuff. Again, not really doing it for me as not a US citizen. It's not really the kind of thing that I'm interested in my babyface characters, but the rumors of her turning heel would be a bit weird after how patriotic she sounded in this promo. And then we came on to our main event after we heard from Riddle and the Usos about their match on SmackDown. It was Asuka versus Becky Lynch, a solid main event, much better than the match that ended in a DQ last week. So we had Asuka, Becky going at it for a shot at Bianca at one point, Becky Lynch throwing Asuka into the Raw Women's Champion, trying to provoke her. However, once they got back in the ring, it was the green mist from Asuka, kind of a heel move, but then again, Becky was trying to cheat by bringing in the umbrella, and with that, Asuka secured the victory and is going to face Bianca Belair at Hell in a Cell for the Raw Women's Championship. So, very interesting stuff indeed in the Raw Women's division, and not to mention, the stuff with Sasha Banks and Naomi. Again, I don't want to speculate too much whether it's real or, it's just a work. I have no idea at the moment. It does seem like a really weird thing to put out a press release about it, but regardless of that, still cool that out of all of this, we can get Asuka versus Bianca Belair, maybe even a triple threat match at Hell in a Cell. I'd be down for that. The Raw Women's scene at the moment is really, really stacked, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the near future. So, in conclusion, a Raw that it was definitely skippable. It wasn't bad by any means, in my opinion. However, there were just matches that were repeats and stuff that we've already seen, really. Again, not really much going on this episode compared to last week, for instance. So, definitely a skippable episode of Raw, but not too bad. That was the Raw recap and the Raw report. What did you think of the video, and what do you think of this format? I might do it again for AEW Dynamite later this week, and maybe SmackDown on Friday. Let me know if you enjoy it, and if you want to see more of it. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe to NLW Figs for more wrestling figure content, and comment down below, what did you think of Raw? Did you check it out? Let me know in those comments below. That's it from me. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.